Scotland over Tonga, folks. Pretty comfortable. 45 points to 17. Big bonus point win. We're going to go through some key events and stats, and you guys can let us know your thoughts on this one from Pool B at the Rugby World Cup. I was going to wait for the sun to come up, but it's taken ages. So, got Australia and Wales to watch shortly, so let's get cracking. Bonus point win is obviously the job done, ticking the box for Scotland. I still feel like Tonga have got more than what they're showing us. They've got some bloody good players, but the performances have been kind of bang average at times. Set piece still struggles. Missed tackles still way too high. Yeah, I don't know. What do you do if you're a Tongan fan? Do you call for a change at the top? Is it the fact that they're not getting the tier 1 games that they need? Like the prep against Canada wasn't enough? Like they had some prep recently, but this is, I don't know. I feel like not that great for the players they've got in stocks. Anyway, Kinghorn bloody close early from some turnover ball, hoofed it clear. Geez, he's quick. Close to getting a try, but he dealt it down before the ball touches the goal line. So, no try early for Scotland, but they still get one anyway. And it's a case of, and it becomes a common theme, Tonga conceding a penalty and Scotland punishing. The first one's offside. Scotland go for touch. It's a huge maul. Bang, turnovers over 7 points to 0. But Scotland being Scotland have to concede points after the opposition scores. That tends to be a thing with this Scottish side. They concede a penalty at scrum time, so it's 7 points to 3. And then what happens not that often is someone gives Duhan van der Merwe a big don't argue. Solomone Kata just puts him on his backside. That would be a battle which would continue throughout the game, but that was noteworthy. And then so too was Finn Russell kicking a pretty sweet 50-22 after some turnover ball. Scotland threatening to attack, but then Ben White gets himself isolated, so the Tongan guys able to turn the ball over. So kind of nothing doing from the 50-22 itself. And then Tonga, just to put a cat amongst the pigeons, scored a nice try. Solomone Kata, man, seemed fired up. 19 minutes, went down the blind side. He was genuinely giving Duhan van der Merwe a bit of trouble on defence. Didn't quite sit him down this time, but was able to kind of avoid his tackle. And then, next phase, Piutau offloads to Kata, who's down the blind side and scampering over for a try. Great go forward ball from the Tongans, man. So suddenly they're 10 points to 7 up. Remember, this is a do or die game for both sides, really. Scotland are big kind of 20-point favourites, so there's a chance for a bit of pressure to go on. But that old thing about conceding penalties and being punished, William Havili, no arms tackle on Kyle Steyn, penalty conceded. It was the TMO who spotted that one. Chance for Scotland leads directly to a Duhan van der Merwe try. There's some pretty sweet Scotland hands in the build-up to it, I think, like Ben White to Tuipulotu to Kinghorn to Duhan. It's a well-worked try. So 12-10, that's what we didn't see from Scotland in their opening game against the Box. And then Havili Talitui tackling without the ball. Scotland phases Russell to Steyn. Boomfa. Like directly punished from penalty conceded. You can't give the Scotland team that kind of field position because their backs are just unbelievable. So, Scotland go from being behind. Conversion is the post to now 17 points to 10 up. But Scotland being Scotland, of course, have to, temper that free-flowing attacking play by, coughing up some pill from the restart. I think it was Ben White was he kind of partially tackled? Ball hits the grass, so it's a bit of, Tongan pressure. But Scotland's defence holds really well. Like, I've been watching the Scotland team long enough to know they often concede points after the restart. But credit to them. Defence did a great job to get them out of jail. And then Talmoipiao on 33 minutes puts in a pretty high shot in on Jamie Ritchie. So it's the initial yellow card, send it to the bunker. My note is that's going to be red, but I'm dead wrong. That one ends up being a yellow. Despite the fact that he was kind of always upright and drove upwards, they ruled that because Jamie Ritchie dipped into it, that last minute change was a mitigating factor. I didn't see it because the mitigation, just because he's always high. He's always aiming high. So, I don't know. I think even if Ritchie doesn't dip, he still hits him high. But anyway, they find some mitigation in there. which is good for the game, but just is a little bit confusing for me. Maybe I'm just a bit of a simpleton. I've been known to get him wrong before, and this is one of those cases. But despite the fact they've lost their captain and he doesn't come back on, he fails his HIA, Scotland are still chasing that bonus point before half-time. Tonga's defence does really well to hold, man. They stop Chris Harris, they stop Bear White, they stop Duhan in the corner. So credit to them for keeping on with the tackling, because at times Tonga's defence was pretty soft, but that one was a good period of defensive play from the Tongans. However, Scotland still had advantage. They go back for the scrum with the clock in the red. They get advantage again, and this time Rory Darge, who's a bit of a workhorse, is able to get a try rather than just a million tackles, which he normally makes. So he burrows over from pretty close range. So 24-10 at halftime, bonus points in the bag. The game is, it's not in the bag at 24-10, but it's looking pretty comfortable. Scotland's had 59% possession. They've had more territory. They've had more run meters. Clean breaks is 6-1. And the defenders beaten is 23-6. So the Scotland tackling percentage is at 91%, which is phenomenally good, especially when you've got some pretty powerhouse players, the likes of a Kata and a Piutau and whatnot, running against you, Fekitoa and Ahki and whatnot. Whereas Tonga's at 77, which is just bad. I know the Scottish attack is lethal, but man, you got to be better than that. It's not going to get it done. Second half, they get the call that the yellow card's going to remain a yellow card. When Tonga go back to 15 guys, again, that kind of cat amongst the pigeons thing, they managed to score. Just to put a bit of doubt in your mind, it's Big Ben Tamiafuna. Goodness gracious me. And again, Solomone Kata in the build-up with big carries. But geez, Big Ben. That must seem like 50 metres. It was about 15. But boy, there was a lot of Scotland defenders around him who just couldn't bring him down. So that's 24-17. So one converted try away from being level. So a little bit of pressure on the Scots. And then they genuinely survived a good period of Tongan pressure. I feel like that's the game for Scotland. It's all going to be about the flashy tries and whatnot. But on 51 minutes, after a sustained period of Tongan pressure, the Scottish defence holds and eventually gets a scrum. The scrum gets a penalty. The penalty gets the exit. And then from there, they kind of go on the offensive. But if they'd conceded there when they were under the pump, maybe this game goes a different way. I'm not saying Tonga would have won it, but it may not have been the kind of blowout that it ends up being. I mentioned Scotland go on the offensive. Duhan, he gets his revenge on Solomone Kata by sitting him down. Then he offloads to George Horne for a try, 31-17. Tonga just gets stuck in their own half, man. For the rest of the game, basically, they can't escape for any real length of time. The kicking game from Scotland is immaculate. The pressure finally pays on 68 minutes. The maul couldn't get it done. The forwards couldn't get it done. So who do you give it to? Finn Russell gives it to Blair Kinghorn. That's another one. So 38-17. Duhan has a massive line break from the restart. That's a great Scottish restart for a change. They couldn't quite convert from it. Hugh Jones knocked on. But then Fifita with a headshot on Finn Russell. It's another one of those yellow cards. It ends up being red after the match. Not a great look. Just charges into him with his arm tucked. It's not great. Despite the yellow card, though, the Tongan guys actually managed to win a scrum penalty, exited their own half. They wanted to keep playing. Credit to them. There's nothing in it for them. They can't get anything out the game, but they wanted to keep fighting. Their line-out let them down again. You can hear the bagpipes playing in the background, and the Scottish fans are getting into it. And then Scotland, man, from their own 22, just doing Scotland things. It's Russell. I think it's Horne who pops it to Graham. And then, he's just got the gas to get away to blow out the scoreline 45-17. I just saw the on-field post-match with Gregor Townsend. He wasn't really happy with the second half. I guess for as much pressure as they had, they probably could have scored some more points. But it's job done, man. Job done. Boxes ticked. Bonus point in the bag. Hopefully no real injuries. I know Ritchie will have to go through the return to play protocols. But yeah, otherwise it seems like a pretty good shift. Possession 59-41. Territory 64-36 for Scotland. Second half territory is 77-23. That's what I'm talking about Tonga being just camped in their own half. Run meters 719 to 339. Clean breaks 13-1. Defenders beaten 47-11. You can't tell me this Tongan side is that offensively blunt. I refuse to believe it. Piutau is in that side. Solomone Kata is in that side. Ahki is in that side. Fekitoa is in that side. Goodness gracious me, man. They got more about them than that. What's going on? I mean, credit to the Scottish defence. They tackle at 91%, which is huge across the game. They maintained that same number from the first half. So, really, really solid. Tonga dropped to 76%, so way too many missed tackles, man. Can't win games like that. Plus, their lineout's 4 from 7. Like, Scotland's is 18 from 21, which is pretty solid. Russell finishes with 2 try assists. Duhan gets man of the match, 129 metres, 3 clean breaks, 14 defenders beaten. That's more than the entire Tongan team had. Darge has 15 from 15 tackles plus that try. He's showing why he's the starting number 7 for Scotland. Kata has 95 metres, a clean break, and 3 defenders beaten. Havili Talitui makes 14 from 15 tackles. But some of these big guns, man. Fekitoa, 6 missed tackles. Ahki, 6 missed tackles. Pita, 9 missed tackles. Unbelievable. Way too much from guys who are, pretty big name players. So, yeah. Tonga got South Africa next. Doesn't get any easier. Whereas Scotland have got a short turnaround before playing Romania. They need to go out and get a big bonus point and whatnot in that one before lining up against Ireland. So, yeah. You guys let us know your thoughts on the game. I'm off to watch the Welsh take on the Aussies. You guys take care and, I'll talk to you again soon. See you later.